As a human rights nonprofit founder, the inauguration of President Donald Trump has been a sensitive time for humanitarian policy. In just his first week of being in office, he has taken 5 significant actions that, regardless of your political stance, is important to follow. So the first Trumpy-related issue involves South Carolina. In 2023, they proposed a law that when a woman has an abortion, she is able to be punished by the death penalty. So lawmakers introduced the South Carolina Prenatal Equal Protection Act, which redefines a fetus to have the same rights as an individual. So that would make abortion homicide, which would then be able to have repercussions of actual murder. So you're saying, okay, 2023, how does this have anything to do with Donald Trump? Well, here's action number 2. So in the last week, Trump signed an executive order which determines gender, sex right at conception, with only male and female as an option. This not only supports the idea that conception starts at birth, but he's also urging federal agencies to no longer promote or support other or transitional gender options. The reason why this is a big deal is because it is supporting the idea that life begins at conception. With this sort of foundation, it allows laws like in South Carolina to become real, to become a reality where abortion becomes homicide. Another controversial move that Donald Trump has done in the last week is pardoning anti-abortion activists. Now, this more than anything is a political statement saying that we support these kind of people and do not support these type of activists. For many, these pardons seem like an endorsement against reproductive clinics, for abortion clinics, for women to be able to be getting these reproductive health services. So with everything going on in the administration now and the executive bills that Donald Trump is signing, when we talk about gender of only being male and female and very outwardly not supporting any other gender classifications or identifiers, with using language that supports the idea of life beginning at conceptions, there are other states that are trying to make abortion equal homicide. Make a woman who is going to have an abortion, regardless if it is because of force or because of incest or because of her health, to face consequences as though she has murdered somebody. Besides South Carolina, Indiana, North Dakota, and Oklahoma are states that are also trying to introduce this new bill. Regardless of your personal beliefs, political, religious, about conception, about abortion, federally, legally, in a human rights stance, this completely takes away a woman's right to bodily autonomy, especially when we talk about the fact that even in cases of force and incest, there are no exceptions. Yes, there are health limitations when it comes to abortion, like late-term abortions, which is really rare and in most cases is because the baby or the mother will die. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is the administration changing funding for Title X. So Title X clinics are known for family planning or pregnancy crisis situations, specifically for low-income or resource-poor populations. In Trump's first term, he drastically changed funding for Title X organizations. Now he is pushing for further funding limitations, which will not only slow and decrease the amount of accessibility that women all over the United States have for not just abortion, but family planning care, but it further promotes the messaging that this is not a human right for women. We have to remember that when we talk about reproductive health care or women's health care, it's not only about abortion. Family planning is the best preventative measure to actually having an abortion. When women have access to education and basic healthcare accessibility, that is when abortion becomes something that is kind of like a last resort. This is not something that women want to do. Having access to the resources that can empower them to have safe sex and be able to plan appropriately is what will lead to the best sort of abortion prevention. So when it comes to gender identities or relating abortion as a homicidal action, and women facing those consequences, including reintroducing the death penalty and lowering funding for organizations for Title X, we have to consider what sort of message and movement this is displaying. Despite your gender, despite your religious or political point of view, you cannot completely disregard all ideas and thoughts and beliefs from somebody or a system or a party or a president just because you heard things on social media or because you overall dislike them. That is where we are going to fail as a society if we are extremist in our own political views. And I'm talking to the reds, the blues, and the in-between. Similarly, if you are pro-Trump and pro the administration, you have to understand what the repercussions are going to be. And instead of just being anti this group, understand how this group is affected. Because this is how we're going to continue to be divided. If we're just wholeheartedly, extremely pro or anti a certain organization or administration.